Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Boy, I tell you what, I've been on True Social, and it's crazy, boy. They got some. They let those Bidenites on there, and they are out of control. I tell you, in a way, it's funny, and in a way, it's educational. You know, the old saying, "Know thine enemy." So these people are unhinged. I mean, it's unreal. Just while I was preparing, taking notes for my broadcast, I had somebody doing some back and forth with me on True Social. It happened to be one of those. Let's see, I'm 47 seconds in, so I got to be careful what I say. One of those characters from the Biden side, you know, and you know those two cities we talk about in the Bible. One of them is Sodom and the other is Gomorrah, because I guess I could talk about Bible stuff still. But anyway, I get one of those from that one city, the first city I'd mentioned, Sodomites, and they get on there and they respond. Anything you say back to them, it's the most filthy, irrational gibberish, and that they even come up with memes. Like I said, they're not funny. They're filthy. They're pornographic. They're they you know, I don't know. And you laugh at them and say, hey, you know, you're just full of you filthy, libelous memes that they mean nothing. They're just nasty responses, and it drives them nuts when you laugh at them. So I took a screenshot of one of the responses back from these demonic souls. They're just overcome with HATE, right? But we got to laugh in their faces. We're coming to a breaking point. We really are. These people are out of control, and we saw some of it. Even though it was muted, you could feel it in that court hearing today, with Mr. T looking at the 3-judge panel while they're trying to decide whether or not he can be prosecuted. You know, I wish. Well, I wish I could have been there to. I had answered for questions that not combative, not smart aleck, but historic answers that would have been hard for those anyone on the liberal bent on the bench to overcome. But I'll go over some of that in a minute too. Hi, Nikki. How you doing? Kicking Bird, Andrew, Rubber Toe, Kim, Sherry, Tennessee. How you doing? Everybody's rolling in. Andrew's here. Hi, Andrew. Ingrid, William, Pappy Chew Bears. New site. There you go. Hit the like button. That's right. New insight. Melinda. Debbie's here. Sissy's here. Sharon's here. Angel's here. Ha ha. Hi, Debbie. How you doing? Yeah, right, Tennessee. Yeah. Well, I tell you, they got. I don't know why they're doing it, but in a way, I'm glad they got some of these Bidenites and on True Social, and he's got his own page, and I tell you, the word quantum we discussed. Pause and quantum. You know, we'll see if any other words start being used that but with quantum, I said it would apply to our money system, and you know, we'll get bills. I'm of the belief, this is just my belief. Remember now, somebody put in a Telegram chat I was looking at that date of the 17th, okay, for Nasar Jassar. And we know, you know, that's been promised and jabbered about for clickbait and for people to get all excited about for years. So don't fall for it. Don't get excited. just know this: we can't survive as a nation with our monetary system in the condition it's in. And I have played many times that very short clip of Nixon just by the announcing to the president, by the president of the United States to the people that we were no longer backed by gold, that we were dealing with a petrodollar. And it happened just that quick, a proclamation. So, and I strongly feel we're going to have gold-backed currency, precious metal currency, and it's the only thing that's worked through 5,000 years of human history, and we'll be going back to it. So, but I did say, well, we'll keep an eye on the 17th just to see, what's going to happen. But I've heard some other things that are going to happen on top of all the other stuff we talked about last night. Of course, we know the 15th is a big day. Are they going to do something to disrupt it? I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a big day for Mr. T. And then right after that, they've got New Hampshire, and they say that the plot is in the works between the Uniparty and the cabal to try to pull a fast one on Trump in New Hampshire. And don't you know that New Hampshire, when Clinton ran the first time, that was the first time, I will say, that I recognized a unified mockingbird media get behind one candidate and promote a fraud. Who can remember what that was? It was Bill Clinton in New Hampshire. And how did they do the fraud, if anybody remembers? Hey, Christopher, how you doing? Marilyn, how you doing? Diane's here. Let's see. MS Motorsports, how you doing? Did you win the big money, MS? Holy cow, you're in Solomon Island. I've been out there a long time ago. You go over a little spit of water there. Right? Am I right? MS Motorsports, and there's a marina right off the bridge, right down at the base of the bridge down there. I looked at a boat down there one time, years and years and years ago. So, anyway, what happened with Clinton? Same pattern as what happened with Obama. The election before Clinton ran for his first term against George Bush, Clinton gave the keynote at the Democratic National Convention. You all remember that? It was for Paul Tsongas, I believe. No, it was for Michael Dukakis. One of the two. Well, anyway, then the following election, Clinton ended up being the nominee. Well, don't you know the same thing happened with Obama? He was a keynote speaker at the election prior to him becoming the nominee 4 years earlier. They both did the same routine. Keynote speaker one election, nominee the next election. So, anyway, with Clinton, he was getting knocked around, kicked around, and all this kind of stuff. And all these things were coming out about him. But anyway, all the Newsweek, Time Magazine, all the newspapers, the morning after New Hampshire primary, they had pictures of him, and they called him the comeback kid. All the news reports were saying, oh, he's being called the comeback kid. He's came back. And next thing you know, he's the front runner. But don't you know he came in third during the New Hampshire primary? But just because they all parroted it, they all said it, that revived his campaign. He came in third. That's a loser. But they just said he was a winner. They said he made a big comeback. And next thing you know, he beat George Bush Sr. and became president. And we know the hell we've all gone through since then, right? Excuse me, I have some cup of my coffee. I had a quick sip of coffee. I'll mute it next time. But anyway. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Yeah, I got to go to buymeacoffee.com, enter Mountain Man. You can help support the channel if you want to help support the channel. And I appreciate Norm coming in the other night and helped me out. And Christopher, I know you're in there. You helped me out too earlier in the week. And Tennessee, he helps me out. I know that. He comes around. Mike D and Camperman, Lone Wolf, Miss Mendersue, Gary, Pappy Two Bears helped out too. So anyway, I've been meaning to bring that up about how they worked getting the Clintons in office. That was the first time where it was absolutely media interference with the presidential campaign. So that being said, you could sense they were seething. Some of these judges were seething. And I had a video clip. I should have kept it. But like I said, I've got over almost 800 videos in my quiver. And but it was one of those things from Midas touched in the head. He was saying, well, Trump won the first time, as if that didn't have me seething. He used the word seething. Now, who seethes? I wasn't seething. Look that word up, S-E-E-T-H, when you seethe. I mean, so I kind of felt that, and especially with this one judge, Pan, P-A-N. I don't know if she's a Pan, whatever she is, Pan judge. I don't know. But she asked the dopiest question. And Trump's attorney, he's got to be respectful. And sometimes judges, in all fairness, they ask questions that seem like they're supporting the other side's argument. But they're really trying to elucidate as much of an argument, get it completely fleshed out now in front of everybody. It's on the record. So their rejection of that argument is based in law. You gotta draw out all possible arguments from both sides, so they can't come back with something later. And that's what some judges do. And so, yeah, I understand that. You can see a judge that will be asking questions. It seems like they're asking things in favor of the bad guys, but they're doing just what I said, drawing out all possible arguments so they can smack them down in their opinion. Okay. Hold on. I got to notice. Christopher. All right. Thank you. Christopher's gone to buy me a coffee, and he appreciates my work, loves my work. Keep it up. Lots of research. And I love to hear how you educate or assess situation. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate that. So I was keeping that in mind, and I was listening to the arguments, and it was down to whether or not a president could be tried or held liable or whatever. And the what Miss Pan brought up was such a ridiculous construct. I guess under the current administration, it could be a possibility. So she said, what if the president of the United States orders SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his rival or her rival, and then leaves office. Are you saying they can't be prosecuted for that? Now, first of all, that is not part of somebody's duties as president of the United States. That is not someone conducting their lawful duties to red rum somebody. Okay? I don't know why they didn't bring that up. The argument was that, a president in the course of his duties, he can't be challenged. He can't be arrested or anything like that. But they went with it and said, oh, well, this case, that case. And so you're telling me, and see, now the liberals love this kind of rhetoric, because if the judges say, well, he's immune, they'll all run around saying, oh, Trump wants to be a dictator and he's going to assassinate people with SEAL Team 6. Well, didn't Obama do that to a U.S. citizen? Yes, he did. He did do that to a U.S. citizen abroad. He ordered an airstrike with a drone and killed a young guy. No trial, no nothing. That was a U.S. citizen. They didn't bring that up. But I would have brought up, a fantastic situation like that aside. One, military strikes have to be conducted and ordered. And when you pass it on to somebody that it has to conduct the strike in the military, you do not have to follow an unlawful order. That should have been brought up. That fact of that matter should have been brought up. And the military is supposed to have safeguards against somebody who just wants to go out and commit random acts of red rum or political acts of red rum. But they didn't bring it up. But the left is going to feed off of that. Believe me, you. But I also think that this exercise is getting these judges out and on the record after not just the questions they're asking, but the opinions they put down in writing to show whether or not they should even be judges in the first place. Oh, here I got something from Truth Social from that crazy person. Calling me a prevert. Oh, well, saying I'm an occult. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, let me just see what's going on in the chats. I've been babbling. That's right. MS, there are safeguards. Barry Soweto. Yeah, they gave him Pulitzer Peace Prize. I got a good meme for that next time I do a picture show. Angela, yeah. Does that fall under immunity? TREASON? So anyway, the analogy I would have used, because one of the judges said, how about when the framers wrote that inferences to a president's immunity? Wasn't the Republic really young? And George Washington was president when they wrote it. And now we have a much stronger judiciary, a much stronger presidency, a much stronger Congress, which I'm like, what have you been watching? But I get her point. She was saying it was early in the Republic, and that goes to the philosophy that the the Constitution changes with the times, which would no, that's not the case. The words that are in there are inalienable rights, okay, and permanent truths, self-evident truths. They don't change. So that argument aside, we never had a stronger president than George Washington. He was at war for years on the front line, okay? And the first thing I would have brought up was the Whiskey Rebellion. With that, I'll get into that in a second, but imagine if Washington had done what he'd done with the Whiskey Rebellion, served out his term in office, was out at Mount Vernon, and all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door from Pennsylvania. Some judge in Pennsylvania. We're charging you with what you did during the Whiskey Rebellion while you were president. You got to come to court in Pennsylvania, and if you're guilty, we're going to throw you in jail. We got a jury ready for you. There's a perfect example. A perfect example. And as far as strength of a president, what president, when they hear of a rebellion where the people are literally up in arms over attacks on whiskey, they take over a courthouse, they take over government buildings, they beat people up, tar and feather people, and what president is going to get on a horse, okay, a horse with his sword and ride all the way up to Pennsylvania from Washington, D.C., gather up troops on the way? I think he had 16,000 troops by the time he ended up in Pennsylvania. And of course, the air quotes rebels, when they heard about this, they beat feet. They were gone. They headed for the hills. And that was the end of that little rebellion. And if they had not taken off, he would have done a drumhead tribunal and gone ahead and taken care of them. And you know what I mean? It'd have been a rope over a tree branch or tied to a post and then pew pew. You don't get much more stronger authority than that. So, but the point is, what if George Washington was subject to later prosecution or civil lawsuits? Hey, your 16,000 man army cut corn there in my cornfield. You owe me a couple $1,000 for trampling down my corn with your 16,000 people, and what have you. Boy, I keep getting, that's the they putting up memes now of Trump kissing his daughter. They freeze it right at a second where they make it look romantic and call Trump a pervert, and they just fixate on things. But anyway, I'm busy. I'll talk about some of their stuff and laugh at them in a minute. Anyway, but that would have been a perfect example to show the judges why you can't have some dingbat prosecutor in Georgia, a nitwit in New York, two nitwits in New York, running around trying to dream up ways to civilly charge the president or criminally charge him. So I think they missed out on that one, but overall they had very solid arguments. But one thing Posobiec put up was that he thought that I was trying to make a thumbnail, but I was being flustered and never got around to it. I couldn't get it done. But pointing out that talk of a president assassinating their opponent, they keep going back to that theme about assassination. Now, I have in my thumbnail arrest of ex-POTUS. Well, it's not only Mr. T. I brought up that Nasara Jassar prediction. I think it was the 17th that I put that up. And I said, it's just somebody, I don't know who they are or whatever, but here's somebody else making a prediction. Well, somebody else made a prediction about Bolsonaro's in Brazil. And this individual that's making the prediction, his name is, I have to find it. I did take notes. He is a, that's not on this page, it's on the next page. He is living under asylum in Washington, D.C., of all places, and he feels that he heard, I'll put it that way, through the grapevine, that Bolsonaro would be arrested in Brazil on the 12th. Abraham Weintraub is his name. Weintraub. He was secretary in Bolsonaro's cabinet while Bolsonaro was president of Brazil. So, and he feels that Bolsonaro's maybe a double agent, that really he's a coward or working for the deep state and all this stuff. I certainly hope that's not the case, and I know he's suffered quite a bit. He's been STABBED'd. He's been menaced. They've menaced his daughter, trying to forcibly put one in her shoulder, if you know what I'm talking about, and all this stuff. And he had to come back to Brazil. If you all will recall, he was here in the U.S. and he spent some time in Florida, and he also met with Mr. T at Mar-a-Lago. So now he is in their clutches, okay? And he's made some public appearances where he is singing their tune. And it's got a lot of people, Oakman, one of them, very upset, because that he's not verbally fighting back against these monsters, these political monsters. So, but hey, he's in their clutches. So we will see what's going to happen. But also, Ecuador, how many of you all have seen that Ecuador has a state of emergency that I feel has been very, very coordinated? And I've got some screenshots and some news reports. Hi, Garrett, how are you doing? Gary, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Ha ha. Let's see. Jet lag, how you doing? Lone Wolf, nice to see you. Rick, how you doing? So there's some footage I saw, awful footage. There was coordinated uprising in jails. Now, I know they have that Supermax prison, but they've got a lot of other prisons around the country. And there were riots in the prisons, and they put out videos of them EX and then accusing the guards, okay? Very unnerving, You can imagine. You don't, if you want to go see it, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But and also armed men storming a live news broadcast on the news station, and you see them pointing their weapons. They got shotguns, they got pistols, and they even had looked like little black softball-sized grenades with a fuse on them. Who knows if they're real or not? But they also had one policeman in the street that they ended his life and videotaped it. So the president has declared a state of emergency. So let me see here what I can see from these reports. And I didn't see anything before I came on here from Mr. T. But gunmen show no mercy as they X3 acute police officer in Ecuadorian capital of Quito. So that was sad, and they did show the video of it, and the president went on national television and declared a state of emergency. And also a college campus was overrun on top of the news station. So this was about 4 hours ago. These reports were coming in, and I haven't seen anything coming across my usual contacts with South America. So we'll see how out of control it gets. But what I heard with what I saw, coordinated prison riots, the attack on the news station, the attack on college campuses, the assaults on the police officers, okay? They even had gunfire and had put up barricades around the Ecuadorian palace. And I saw a video of that. So it was, within meters, they said, of the palace there in Ecuador, they had to put up barricades. So I'm thinking it is something we're going to find out details. I don't know how far in the future, but nothing like that is going to happen without the C.I. right? A. being involved or knowing something about it. These guys were in track suits and shorts, and they just looked like gang members, and that's what it is, a coordinated gang strike. It's an attempted coup, Wanda. It's an attempted coup in Ecuador. And Garrett, it's K1LLED. K1LLED. So your comment might disappear because that's not a word we can use. That's right, single songwriters. A future we may be looking at. And while I'm watching this, I get some kind of goofball insult message on True Social from one of the Sadonamites, and I sent them back a couple of things. I think I told them to go get their fourth booster and go back to sleep. And what else did I do? I sent them a meme with Mel Gibson on one side that says, "Me voting for Trump in 2016, Mel Gibson looks normal." And then it says, me voting for Trump 2024 and Mel Gibson in war paint screaming, right? You all seen that meme. And I just put above it, cry more. Because they were, just putting up filthy stuff. And I just told them, these memes are filthy, but I'm considering the source, you're filthy yourself. So, boy, did they send me back a nasty comment. And it was even blocked by the administration on Truth Social. They said, this is comment to you is under being reviewed. If you want to see it, click the button, but it's being hidden from everybody else. I said, man, this guy must be really going cuckoo. And so I went ahead and clicked it to read it. And it says, why do you MAGA betas always think we're crying? You think you have that much influence? Dude, I'm laughing at you. You're a effing nobody to me. Your life and everyone you care about is meaningless to me. It goes on, but I'm just saying, look at the viciousness, okay, on a social media site, bantering around memes. He goes on. So live in your little fantasy world thinking you're a good husband and father. You probably beat the S out of your wife and molest your daughter, then brag to the boys down at the bar how you own the libs on Truth Social. Wow. What kind of fantasy world's he living in? And he goes on to say, here's the truth. If your life needed saving, I'd pass. You have no redeeming positive value to humanity. Your mother should have aborted you. So F you and die. Over a meme, a Mel Gibson meme? Hold on, it goes. Well, no, I did send him. He keeps going. I'll finish it up. But I did send him that little short clip of Joan Rivers saying that Michelle was a tranny. I mean, I can't help that. It's a clip. It's about 16 seconds long. What do you want me to do? But anyway, so he goes on to say, so F you and die. I'm not crying. I'm gloating at having just passed you off talking about your skank-hole wife and daughter. Your son is probably a homosexual too. I'm not a social media expert or guru, but this ain't normal. And if I didn't know how pitiful they were, I'd be concerned. And I'm not concerned because they're losers and weak-minded. But this stuff gets out into the streets, and especially somebody like that, if they come across somebody on the street with a MAGA hat that's elderly, or has an infirmity, or if there's a pack of them and one person with a Trump button on their coat or something like that, they're like jackals and people can get hurt. But that made me think of what I talked about earlier, quantum. And I've talked about it in the past, but I haven't talked about it in a while. I've said that media posts, the internet, as we all know, is forever. I think given this level of vitriol, the amount of crimes that have been not only ignored, but encouraged, that get right to the heart of our society. I mean, crimes against young people, violence, aiding, abetting illegal immigration because they think they have some higher justice that they're serving, or and they're in a position of power to do it in the government. I showed you the picture of the forestry service person, being induced, in my mind, to, at the age of 14 or 15, to have a double mastectomy, and you'll have a gravy job with the Forest Service. I showed that. That's my suspicion. Okay. I think social media needs to be reviewed. This person that sent that message to me, and while I've been broadcasting about 3 or 4 others with just as much vitriol, filthy language, whatever, they all need to be reviewed. If they have a government position, if they're members of the military, just like Milei did in Venezuela, protesters blocking the streets, you lose your welfare check. Okay? Even get down to that point. If you got time to like, for the past hour while I've been working, trying to take notes and do things, this person has been going cuckoo on their Obama phone, okay, and sending the most disgusting things on a social media site that I consider to be, just like YouTube, just like Facebook, just like Truth Social, household applications. Namely, they're the type of postings that any 12-year-old can come across. The rules need to be just like for the television. A 12-year-old cuts it on and somebody broadcasts across that television something filthy, they go to jail. Okay? Same thing. At the very least, they should not be in a position of public trust. They certainly shouldn't be judges. If they have a law degree, take their license. That kind of behavior and that type of expression of what you think of your fellow Americans, I'll make fun of them. I'll mock them, but I'm not going to libel them or send filthy images or innuendo that is S3 actual in nature, and those types of things. With quantum computing, they can bring all that stuff down, but it's small potatoes compared to what we know is going on. And many of them are in our government, all right, as functionaries, filler jobs, this and that are engaged in activities, you know what I'm talking about, that involve little ones and images, all right, or getting in contact with little ones or very young ones, all right, all that stuff. Like Elon Musk said, I bought a crime scene. It was so rampant on Twitter. Now they've gone to Mastodon. Now they've gone to Threads, okay? And I fully believe that term quantum is going to come into effect. And hey, there's only X number of policemen, policewomen, servicemen, public employees, members of the armed forces. There's a finite number. And every one of them, their posts should be gone through, and objectionable content or insightful content gross and obscene content that all needs to be taken a look at. And if they're engaging in this kind of behavior, you're out of here, okay, as far as public employees. So I hope you all agree with me on that. That's right, Gary. Don't we have tens of thousands of people from Ecuador that have crossed the border? Well, that is the scary thing that this country's never experienced and doesn't think it can experience, like what is shown with that news organization being overrun by armed gangsters taking over a news station, where a uniformed police officer can be surrounded and forced to his knees and videotaped what they did to him, okay? Where the college campus, you had hundreds of students fleeing. Let me tell you, you get a gang of half a dozen to a dozen armed people who have no respect for life. They'll run hundreds of people like sheep, okay? And they'll take over an institution, a campus, or a police station, or a prison, and that's what they're doing, or a news station, on down the line. It's something to think about. Just like I said, when that guy was on the run, and that was up in Pennsylvania, one guy paralyzed multiple counties and had hundreds of law enforcement and Border Patrol agents looking for him for almost 2 weeks. One person, a one prison escapee. So imagine, like what Gary said, you got thousands, not just from Ecuador. Hey, you think about it. We've got hundreds of thousands that they could be on the same page. They could be on the same page. And another thing that I meant to bring up that I brought up in the past and haven't brought up before, Trump has mentioned recently in his speeches about China, young people. He said, what are they doing? Building their own army? And he was referring specifically to the Chinese. We know we've got all these other nations. But what did we talk about a year ago a couple of times? During the Clinton administration, it was most pronounced, where they would have vacationing, air quotes, couples coming over from China right when they were getting ready to give birth. Thousands of them. I estimated at the time, about a year ago, that they thought there were about 2 million, and I'm not kidding, people that came on these vacation junkets over a period of 15 to 20 years, whether they were government employee, diplomat, staff, vacationers, people here on work visas or whatever, with the sole purpose of giving birth, getting birth certificates, and back to China they went. And guess what? 18 years later, you got an indoctrinated member of the Chinese Communist Party that is an American citizen because they were born here, but they were raised in China, and they come back across that border. Guess what? Under the liberals' twisting of the laws, by creating out of thin air an automatic birthright citizenship, we've got this potential for infiltration, just what I talked about. And that's, I think, what Trump was hinting about. And that is what is going to be used to put a stop to and reverse the illegal application of birthright citizenship. You're a citizen if you're born in this country, if your parents have a legal presence here. They have been giving citizenship to people whose parents are here illegally or on temporary visas, which is not the purpose of birthright citizenship. And we're going to see something, folks. We're going to see something pop up. I saw a single songwriter, I think it was. I may be wrong, but yeah, single songwriter said they call it a dry run. They call it a dry run. And it doesn't have to be Ecuadorians. It can be members of the NWO, okay? Hi, Ivana. How are you doing? Jerry Lee, how you doing? Oh, easy there, Mountain Man. What did I do? What did I say? What did I say wrong? It's true. I remember. Oh, we got storms down there, New Insight. I know they're having heavy storms in Tallahassee, Florida. That's probably blowing over your way. I'm glad you're doing good, Ivana. It's nice to see you again. Hi, Marilyn. What did I do, Gary? Where I have to be easy? I don't know. I must have said something. I must have been getting ready to say something. But anyway, where is my financial expert? You guys know who I'm talking about. He started getting Bible stuff right when I was wrapping up the program last night. So maybe he'll pop in because I want to talk about that before it gets too late. But they don't show up. Storms are everywhere, Nikki said. Nikki, did you see that poll Mr. T put out that Michigan, Trump's got a great big lead in Michigan? He's not present, Christopher said. Yeah, I see that. You know, if somebody comes in, just let them go. Because I tell you, it's much more civilized than what I'm experiencing on Truth Social, as you can see by what I played or what I read earlier. He'll pop in after he watches MSDNC. Yeah, he's tardy. You have to give him a demerit. Michigan loves Mr. T. But he brought up Lot and his daughters when we were talking about that influencer that I showed a video of him dressing like a Trump supporter and getting his friends to dress like Trump supporters and actually go to the Capitol. And I tell you, I'm not talking behind anybody's back. I'm just general talk. On one hand, they say there's no way they could get thousands of people to do what you're saying. It's a conspiracy theory, right? But then on the next hand, I show somebody actually dressing like a Trump supporter and getting others to do it. And they say, oh, that guy is famous. He's got 100 and some thousand followers. That's just one guy. So yeah, it's a fact, not a theory. I'm just reading people's comments. 32 degrees in California. My word. CJ, 1975, how you doing? Trump and the military have all the receipts. Yes, they do. One receipt at a time. So people can swallow it and organize it in their minds. Jeannie Bottle, how are you doing? When America stops interfering in other people's countries, stop selling arms, buying drugs. That's right. That's right, Jeannie. There's a lot of criminality going on. A lot of criminality. So, anyway, speaking of receipts, Letitia, no, it's Fannie Willis. She has got some dirt coming out on her. Another romantic situation. And Mr. T made a post about it. I'm trying to follow my broadcast. About her romantic involvement with this character. He's gotten 600, almost 700,000 in legal fees. And he's sleeping with Fannie. Before we get into that, remember, it was alleged that she had some kind of tryst with a rapper that she was had in court under a RICO charge. And when Trump went down there, he hired that rapper's attorney who represented the rapper that was messing with Fannie. I thought that was funny. So now she doesn't let no grass grow under her feet. She started messing around with this other character. Where in the world? Oh, man. And Trump put out a five-page dealing with a lot of the stuff that we're going to be seeing coming out. I'm just looking before I go out of my studio, just see. Yeah, it's going to blow up. You can feel it. You can feel it in the air. And there's a lot of people speculating on a possible, hey, if they arrest Bolsonaro's, and we're talking about dry runs. Don't be surprised if they arrest Donald Trump. So, has everybody seen this revelation? Just announced in the great state of Georgia that Fulton County DA Fannie Willis who criminally indicted your favorite president, me, and many other innocent people, patriots, hired and exorbitantly paid a, quote, romantic partner to prosecute the 45th president of the United States, and then financially benefited from their relationship. Without getting into too much detail there, a lot of stuff is backfiring in these prosecutors' faces. We got Fannie Willis first with the rapper, okay? I haven't forgot that. Now we've got her tied in with this romantic involvement involving well over $500,000. Then we've got Letitia James coming out with 250,000 here and 100 and some thousand there that ended up in her accounts that weren't disclosed, and a lot of it traced back to George Soros's money, right? So Letitia James, and there's probably more than that we got on her. Then you've got Jack Smith. He's looking at extortion charges during his time as a supposedly prosecutor for the international courts. And Judge Engoron, what are we going to find out about him? He is adamant about prosecuting Trump. He is ignoring the appellate court. What we're going to get an education in our justice system. The courts cannot have a rogue judge ignore a court of appeals. What is going to be their mechanism of enforcement? Because they can't let it go. You'll have judges all around the country telling the appeals courts to go stick it, you know? So what do you think is going to be the remedy? Okay. I don't see my financial expert. Oh, he didn't take it. And that's the other thing. I see what you're saying, New Insight. He hadn't taken his oath. None of them have taken an oath. Remember that? Brunson case brought that up. I know Fannie Wilson's state, but in the federal, in Biden administration, a lot of them are wandering around that never took the oath. And Jack Smith was not approved by Congress. And in order for him to operate at the level he's operating at, he's supposed to be put before the Senate and confirmed by the Senate. That hadn't been done. They haven't even played that card yet. So, to me, they're trying to put the squeeze on Trump and they're failing. And Trump's legal team's response is like an anaconda getting around them and squeezing tighter and tighter and tighter and closing their options down. I mean, they're you could say the noose is tightening, but I'll say anaconda to stay out of trouble, because I think today's my last day and I'll have a lot more latitude the next time I go live. I'll be past a certain time frame. So they're going to blow a cork. They're going to freak out, just like that message I showed you. That person wrote me back on Truth Social. I'm supposed to be somebody they're not concerned about, but I had to take 2 screenshots to get that whole diatribe in. For somebody that doesn't bother them, they sure did take a lot of time to come up with a lot of filthy, aggressive, menacing things to say. So you put that into characters, state, local, and federal, thousands of them, that are going to lose their you-know-what when Trump gets back in office. And I said, always hold out the notion that it might not be Trump. Hold out the notion also that military intervention may not be because of a Trump publicly known Trump directive. Biden might do it. The things are a tinderbox. You know, we've got a lot of people on the inside saying that Obama has said Joe's got to go. People are openly speculating on both sides of the media aisle who's going to replace Joe. So they're getting pushed into a corner. That's right, Richard. Good time to buy stocks and mental wards. You know, they're going to have to do something. We can't. I showed you the pictures. The last mass SHOOT, okay, ER, was another, like Donald Trump Jr. pointed out, another TRANNY, okay? And they're really not geared up. Wait till they lose it. And so that's why they're trying to short circuit Trump in New Hampshire. Peter Navarro put out a warning. Watch out to the people who are doing voter drives in New Hampshire. And I know everybody loves Trump up in New Hampshire too, but they're going to try to pull a fast one to take the wind out of Trump's sails in New Hampshire. They're pretty much out of luck for Iowa. It's going to be a historic blowout. And I'm wondering if they're going to let that happen and try to kick his pops out in New Hampshire with what they did Clinton in his first run. But are they going to try an FF before Iowa? Okay, the 15th, that's the big date. The 15th. And then according to whoever posted on the 7th on Telegram, the 17th is supposed to be in the Jasar. Don't get excited about it. We'll see. It's very close, right? So it's nothing to get all hopped up about. Everything is close. And they have been putting Mike Shell on TV quite a bit. A Google account. Haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. Diane says he'll play a card Nancy Pelosi. How's he going to play that card? And then we've got, don't forget, who never wrapped up his investigation, never gave a report, a final report, okay, and said he was closing his offices down, is Durham. And who has never given any report, but has an ongoing investigation that's been going on for years, is Inspector General. Oh my gosh, his name escaped me. Huber. And what's the other one? 8 letters in their name. What did I see? Made me. That's right, Eric Holder. I meant to talk about him too. Zoe Bonnie, how are you? First Lady Trump's mother, pal. She did pass away. Yeah, that's why Melania wasn't in the Christmas photograph, Zoe, because her mother had gotten very ill, and so that was expected, unfortunately. Yeah, Eric Holder. Gary said, didn't want me to have a heart attack. No, I'm fine. Ain't nothing but shaking but the leaves on the tree, Gary. I'm doing all right. I got to throw a couple more turd balls at this character on Truth Social, though. I can't read. While I was live, I got 3 nasty. I could read parts of it, but I got to go out of the studio to see it. But they're having that. Yeah, you heard that last one I read. It just foul, And I believe people that leave messages on a social media site, a household social media site of that nature, cannot be in a public trust. They can't be employed by the government. Yeah, him, yeah, potty mouth, but it's, also, you know, uh, I'm sure there'll be guidelines. There's gonna be a whole new set of rules. Okay, they get one little cranny they can get inside, just like, well, if you're born in this country, you're a citizen. Well, next thing you know, they're get everybody. You're pregnant. Get in here quick. Have a kid. Then dual citizenship, and the the plain language of the Constitution doesn't permit that. But then we have spineless politicians. What I was going to say about that judge who said multiple times, this Pan, when I don't think she was doing it to elucidate uh, a lawful argument. I think she was trying to incite people when she said, "Oh, Trump could send SEAL Team 6, or a president could send SEAL Team 6 to red rum their opponent." Over and over again, she asked that question. Another one of my responses would have been, because the attorney said, "Well, if the president gets impeached and convicted, then they can be tried after they leave. They'll be thrown out of office, and they're impeached and convicted by the Senate." And my point would have been, if they did that with a drone to their political opponent and didn't get impeached very quickly and convicted very quickly by the Senate, we've got bigger problems than a rogue president that you're fantasizing about to get your base a talking point. Don't you all agree? So we had another House member leave. Mike Pence's brother, was it? His brother. I didn't even know Mike Pence had a brother. Oh gosh, there's a picture of that poor cop. We had Mike Pence's brother. He's announced that he's from the House of Representatives. So the Republican majority is down to a sliver. And this is going to be one heck of a big election coming up, and it is so very close. A woman had a baby over U.S. airspace. See, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that red houses. She kept saying, "I want to clear, yes or no." Big skunk, how you doing? The statement was to red rum the political opponents, then resign before impeachment. Well, that was where she said they could order SEAL Team 6 to do a drone strike on their political opponent. And I brought up that the military does not have to follow unlawful orders. So again, even if you had that where a president called up and said, "Hey, you guys, take out my political opponent," and the military did it, you got bigger problems than a rogue president. And if he didn't get impeached, we got bigger problems. It would never happen. You wouldn't have a member of the military break the law. That's right, Gary. The ones who went after Trump, retribution. That's another thing this person. Oh, I had somebody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 7 people ran to my rescue while I've been going live and liking my posts against that nasty person. I appreciate that. But that's another thing that person brought up on True Social, retribution, saying that was something a dictator to. No, I didn't get a chance to respond to him, and I don't think I'm wasting my time. Retribution is a lawful remedy. A lawful remedy. Society deserves retribution from a person who commits a crime against a society. That's what jail is about. Retribution for what you did. If you rob a bank and go down the road for 10 years or whatever it is, that's called retribution. Vengeance is different. So we have retribution coming for a great many things. That's right, Red House, and they wouldn't have to carry that order out. Well, it wouldn't even be passed on to them by the high command. Big Skunk says the military admitted that Trump made illegal orders and they didn't follow them. I'm sorry. I appreciate you being here, Big Skunk, but be careful of what you're told by a media that is corrupt and a mockingbird media that's being run by the C.I.A. Trump never gave illegal orders that the military didn't follow. He gave lawful orders that the military didn't follow. And mark my words, Big Skunk, mark my words. The person that did not follow his orders to remove troops from Syria is going to lose their, at the very least, lose their commission as an officer and end up in the brig. They bragged that they didn't follow his order to remove the last troops from Syria, which are now in harm's way during this conflict in the Middle East. They shouldn't even be there. And if somebody does get hurt or KILLED, dereliction of duty and refusal to follow orders. But let me tell you, if Trump did give an illegal order that was not followed, the news cycle would be blown up with it. We'd never hear the end of it. There would be detailed magazines, news magazines written about it. So don't just fall into rumors and talking points of a corrupt mainstream media, because a lot of them are going to be going to jail too. Can you imagine if Trump made an illegal order? Now that he's out of office, they whisper and brag that they didn't follow his orders to remove the troops from Syria. You know, but if he really made an illegal order once he got out of office, that they'd be writing books about it. It'd be going crazy. So it's just all talk, really. Oh, Ian, when did he leave that message? Probably while I was going back and forth with this nutcase. Hemp rope necklaces. What was that? Rick here from Canada, and Trudeau had a couple of journalists arrested outside just for asking questions. That was going to be my thumbnail. We've got a nation out of control. Many nations out of control. Okay, Big Skunk, you talk to generals in the Pentagon? Okay. It's a secret, right? You can't tell me who the general is, right? It's all classified, right? Well, Big Skunk, when he is in front of a tribunal, you make sure you let us know that that's the general you talk to. I see what you're saying, Gary. Uh, w- we are watching, I think, to a large degree, a show. A lot of people got to learn, but Big Skunk, I don't know too many generals that would would pass around, brag, or discuss with a civilian that they refuse to follow orders from the commander in chief, because he had to personally. I'll wrap it up with this. He had to personally fly to Iraq and land with no lights on the runway. He tells that story. He made a surprise visit and he met General Raisin Kane. And he talked to Raisin Kane and said, how come we haven't got rid of these ISIS characters? And he said, well, I'm just following orders where we can only attack from this base. But if you want me to, I can get rid of them in a week. He said 2 weeks. He said, well, make that 1 week. And Trump said, well, you're saying what I want to hear. How come I'm being told it's going to take 6 months or a year and a half, 2 years? He said, I never said that, Mr. President. I'm telling you, you let me do what I want to do, and I'll have them out of here in 2 weeks. And Trump said, well, that's what I wanted. That's what I ordered. He said, well, nobody passed the order on to me. And Trump said, oh, really? He said, yeah. What would you like me to do, sir? I want you to wipe them out. Okay, I'll wipe them out. And then Trump said, no, wait a minute. He said, do some flybys to scare the hell out of them. And maybe, we don't have to, end that many lives. They are human beings. Trump said, so scare them with some low flights or just show up in the middle of the night flying real low and they don't know if they're going to get blown up and maybe they'll leave. And he said, no, they won't. They won't. No, they won't. He said, they're not human. They're animals. He said, you can't scare them. And they'll do or die. That's the way they are. And Trump said, well, do the flyovers anyway. Try to scare them away anyway. If they don't leave, then you have my authorization to end them. And that's exactly what happened. They did the flyovers. They wouldn't leave. And General Raisin Kane erased them from the face of the earth, and that was the end of ISIS. Because somebody was not passing on his orders. So Trump knows who did not pass on his orders. So whoever you are talking to is a general. I'm not talking about Iran. I'm talking about Syria. You need to look at a map, Big Skunk. And, incident, it's just all rumors, whispers and rumors and BS. Now, I'm not saying you're talking BS. I'm saying somebody's telling you BS. A lot of people, they'll tell a story, and it is more important for it to be interesting than accurate, especially military stories. It's more important to be interesting than accurate. Some of them will tell a lie if the truth was a better story. Aha, I see 100% right, Gary. Operation Backfire, going to trap them all. All right, I appreciate everybody that's came into the chats tonight, new folks. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe so you know when I go live. I don't know if I'm going to go live again tomorrow. We'll see what happens in Ecuador. It was nasty. I'm telling you, when you're seeing people, police officers getting SHOT in the street, I mean, full uniform, made to get down on their knees, and they had those anchors in the newsroom at GUN points and putting their hands up in a prayer position. And then you had those poor guards, one by one, it's scary. And I'm going to stay up late and keep an eye on what's happening there, folks, because that is our backyard. And I do want to thank Christopher for going buy me coffee and helping out the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And yeah, you're right. Thank you, Big Skunk. You got the wrong information, and I get all the right information. Thank you. I'm just kidding. But, I mean, if you can't tell me a specific, I don't know what to tell you. It's all talk. But there were people that didn't listen to Trump's orders. That doesn't mean Trump's orders were unlawful. Their refusal to follow his orders are what's unlawful. And we will see, because I'll tell you, welcome to the to this march through history we're all doing together. We got a lot of nice people in chats, but I'm telling you, the end of this road is going to be a lot. We're going to find out a lot of stuff. I'm telling you that the military institutions are going to be changed. All right. From deep inside all the way out. I'm talking about the Bar Association, the law, the legal practice, the medical practices, our judicial system, our framework of government is going to return to a constitutional framework. And a lot of things are going to change. And a lot of people who are used to getting the gravy, used to being on top, used to using the bathroom on people and sticking their nose up in the air are going to be sorry. And we shall see, because 2024 is crunch time. Crunch time. Yeah, that's what's his name? The Lloyd Austin. Lloyd Austin they said his elective surgery was prostate cancer. Yeah, I guess that could be. That could be, and that's terrible. I don't want cancer on anybody. Okay. It seems my points are correct. Just got here and was making a point. Okay. Yeah, no problem, Big Skunk. Even if you're, want to argue with me, I hope you don't. But if you do, I have no problem with discussing issues with people who have different points of view. No problem. But I'm a smart aleck, Big Skunk. I hope you understand that. All right, folks. I appreciate everybody that stopped by to see me. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live in the future. And I'll see what happens tomorrow, if I go live or not. But if not, I'll see you later in the week. Until then, this is Mountain Man. Over and out.